Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Let's assemble. We're here today to introduce a few people, but first, this is the USA Truck Extraordinary Employer Support Award ceremony. So I welcome everyone. I'd like to introduce you to the Arkansas ESGR State Chair, Major General Retired William Wofford. To my left here, and I'll turn it over to the Major General.
Well, thank you. It's an honor for us to be here today. Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve is actually a volunteer organization, the volunteer arm of the Department of Defense. Okay? And as part of that organization, we try to promote and support work that provides guidance, provides information, advice to our service members that are members and employees of various organizations. We also provide educational opportunities and, when necessary, try to serve as intermediary between the employee and the employer if there is a disconnect somewhere. Okay? Now, as was mentioned, we're here today to present USA Truck, the 2021 Extraordinary Employer Support Award. That's in recognition of the organization's exemplary support for its National Guard and Reserve employees. In addition, we're going to be presenting the ESGR Patriot Award to 2 USA Truck managers. And then lastly, we're going to have USA Truck sign a statement of support, okay, for their continued support of the Guard and Reserve. One thing I'd like to share with each of you, a little known, probably a little advertised statistic that I came across actually when I heard the Chief of Staff of the Army mention it several years ago, and it was startling to me the first time I heard it. Because as a parent, out of every 10 young men and women in our community, here in Arkansas and nationwide, ages 17 to 25, out of those 10, there's 4 that are not eligible to join the military because they don't have a high school education, they don't have a GED, or they can't pass a physical fitness test. As a parent, that's kind of alarming. However, there's more to that story. Out of the remaining 6, there's 3 more that are not eligible to join the military because they've got a police record, a drug habit, or a morals issue. So out of every 10 young men and women in your community, there's only 3 even eligible to join the military. Now, these are the same 3 individuals that USA Truck is trying to hire to come to work for them. The same individuals that we're trying to recruit into the military. So when we can work as partners, where you've got employees and we've got Guard and Reserve members working for the same boss, that's a hit. Now I will tell you, I have been sharing that message with every civic leader, every business organization, our congressional delegation, for about the last 10 years. I feel so strong about that data that I just provided you. The message that I want to leave you with is that if you hire a veteran, somebody that has served in the military, any branch of the military, or a member of the Guard and Reserve, you're getting the cream of the crop. You're getting the best that Arkansas has to offer. So it is an honor for me to be here to share those thoughts with you and to present this award. So, I'm going to be followed by Colonel Jeremiah Gentry. He's the commander of the 188th Wing at Fort Smith. Colonel Gentry has got a distinguished career in the Air National Guard, in the Air Force and the Air National Guard. He's flown F-16 fighters in Iraq. He's flown the A-10, the warthogs that we had here at Fort Smith in Afghanistan. And he came here today to share some of his thoughts with you. So, Colonel Gentry.
Thank you, General Wofford. Appreciate your time today. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this honor and share our appreciation of a valuable employer in this community that supports what we do out at the base. So I'll talk a little bit about what we do at the base, but also what we do in the state of Arkansas. At the base, sometimes we have a long-term plan and we know when our annual training is going to be conducted, and we can tell you, down to the day and the time when an exercise is going to occur, like in Louisiana in June of last year when we activated 4,500 Army Guardsmen and sent them down to Louisiana for a large force exercise. Some of those are pre-planned, and some of them are short-term combat necessary deployments right away, and some of them are short-term, last-minute, no idea it was coming, a 500-year flood, and we activate, like we did at Fort Smith at Ebbing, about a 10-man crew of unclassified processing, exploitation, intel analysts, and so we activated about 10 that had 24 hours notice. And then we also deploy on short notice domestic response like we did for the hurricane in Louisiana. And we sent about 500 folks from our local community for the recovery efforts in Louisiana. And so that one was short term, but we also have longer term because we are still doing combat operations out of Fort Smith at Ebbing Air National Guard Base 24/7, both on the intel side as well as the flying side. None of the airplanes you see here, all of them will stay overseas deployed. And people get activated for those. And sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's a year. A lot of times we know about a month in advance, but sometimes we don't. So I appreciate you as an employer and your managers supporting our employees who sometimes don't know until 24 hours out whether they're going to leave you and not be able to do their job the next day. I can't imagine what that does to a company that has to react with the amount of logistical things that you have to think through and react to that, and to not get upset and to continue to lean in to the employer support of our employees that we're sharing. Thank you. Thank you for doing that, and know that it does cost you, and I appreciate the willingness to continue to support us, because I can guarantee you we are having a global strategic national effect for our security here and abroad. We're helping people in the Delta region like we did for 2 weeks in the summer when we sent our medical folks out there to provide for the impoverished area of the Delta region, and we serviced about 3,500 folks with either optometry, dental, or first aid care, remedial medical services. So we do things for the community. We're giving back in that way, but we're also giving back protecting our nation from Fort Smith and across the state, either in domestic response or large force exercises. So thank you for supporting that. Know that it's critical to our nation's security, and it's critical to helping others. And so if you have that service-oriented heart, know that your sacrifices when your coworkers leave for short or long term is really helping a lot of other people. So it is my honor to be a part of the ceremony and recognize your company. And thank you, sir, for the time. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Colonel Gentry. I'm going to call some names, and if you would please come forward facing the camera and line up. So, James Reed, Colonel Gentry, Major General Wofford, Greg Wilson, Timothy Hicks, and Sergeant Jordan Ray. We just recently had 2 of our managers nominated for the ESGR My Boss is a Patriot Award, Mr. Timothy Hicks and Mr. Greg Wilson. This nomination was submitted by Sergeant Jordan Ray. The Patriot Award was created by ESGR to publicly recognize individuals who provide outstanding patriotic support and cooperation to their employees, who, like the citizen warriors before them, have answered their nation's call to serve. At this time, Arkansas ESGR State Chairman William Wofford will now present the Patriot Award to Mr. Timothy Hicks and Mr. Greg Wilson.
Okay, great. I got it right this time. That's why I don't want to do 2 plaques. Let's see if we can get it. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Jordan would like to read a few comments. Go ahead, Jordan.
I'll read off the paper. Good afternoon, my name is Jordan Ray. I'm a professional truck driver under Fleet 23 and a sergeant in the Tennessee Army National Guard. I serve in the 1172nd Transportation Company, 230 Sustainment Brigade. In Fleet 23, I work under Timothy Hicks and Greg Wilson. Tim and Greg are the best support I've had as military supported bosses. I've had to serve way more than the National Guard's typical 2 weeks in the summer and 1 week in a month. I had to reclass this year in a 28-day course and also another 28-day course for promotion to the next rank. And then I had a long-haul convoy mission with my unit. Earlier this year, Greg and Tim, along with their boss, Marty Key, and others, surprised me with a 2021 Kenworth T680 with a huge military decal that states U.S. Army veteran Jordan Ray on both sides. The truck's out front. I'm proud to drive this truck locally in the Memphis area and show my USA truck pride and my Army veteran pride. Thanks to them, I will get promoted to Staff Sergeant soon and am confident that I will have no issues when I re-enlist next year in May. I have served almost 6 years in the Army, and I'm confident that I will continue my career with USA Truck and the Army National Guard thanks to Tim and Greg.
Thanks, Jordan. Okay, at this time, Mr. Wofford, assisted by Colonel Gentry, will now present the prestigious Extraordinary Employer Support Award. This award was created to recognize sustained employer support of the National Guard and Reserve Service. Only prior recipients of the Secretary of Defense Employer Support Freedom Award or the Pro Patriot Award who have demonstrated sustained support for 3 years after receiving one of those awards are eligible for consideration of this award. USA Truck received our highest state award, the Pro Patriot, in 2015, 2016, and has continued to provide outstanding support to their National Guard and Reserve employees for the past 5 years. The plaque reads as follows. Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, Extraordinary Employer Support Award. In recognition of sustained support to the reserve components of the United States Armed Forces, this Extraordinary Employer Support Award is presented to USA Truck Incorporated 2021, signed by Robert Underhill, Executive Director, ESGR, and Ronald Bogle, National Chair, ESGR. James, if you have a few comments.
All right. Well, what an honor to be able to receive this award, really on behalf of USA Truck. Colonel Gentry didn't know it, but as he was sharing his remarks about the timeliness of response and some of the unplanned and planned nature of the missions that are fulfilled by our National Guardsmen, it took me kind of unexpectedly back to my youth. You know, my father was on Trident-class submarines and fast attack submarines, and that mission, I don't know the right parlance, so I'll get the taxonomy wrong, but they were either, you know, classified or top secret, I don't know. But he would disappear in the middle of the night for 6 months at a time. And as a kid, we didn't know the next morning if my dad would be there or not because he had a mission to fulfill. And it touches my heart to think that we have men and women who work at USA Truck who do the same thing, who come here and give everything they've got, but when their country calls, they leave. And so I just want to give you my heartfelt appreciation, and then I'd like to just launch into some prepared remarks if that's okay. So first of all, welcome to everyone that came to USA Truck today. We welcome our friends, our colleagues, our neighbors from nearby bases, Major General Wofford, Colonel Gentry, Ms. Schluterman, who's here somewhere behind the scenes working hard, and Mr. James, who I just saw a second ago. Where did you go? He's right there. Thank you for being here. I especially want to extend a welcome to our veterans, our active duty servicemen and women, and the National Guardsmen and women who join us here today. Thank you for being here. We honor you, and we acknowledge we would not enjoy the freedoms that allow us to meet here today if not for your willingness to sacrifice so much, so readily for us. Thank you. The military is an important cornerstone to USA Truck's history and founding, and to this area of the country. Our own founder, Mr. Bob Powell, was himself a Navy aviator, and his great love for that legacy led to the naming of our company and the selection of our famous and ubiquitous logo that we share with the United States military aviation ranks. What an honor and privilege it is to have our colleagues recognized for the Patriot Award, and for us as an employer to receive the Extraordinary Employer Support Award. This isn't in my prepared comments, but I just want to commend both of you, and you as well, Jordan. It means a lot to our community, to our company, to Jordan, I know personally. It means a lot that you guys have been so flexible and so accommodating, and it says a lot about you as Americans, frankly, that you're willing to do what it takes to fulfill that, and so thank you, honestly, for that. John F. Kennedy said, "The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission." We are so very grateful for those who serve in our military or have served. I feel like I should take a break at this moment. You know, there's probably about 600 people watching this remotely. COVID has really changed our work dynamic, hasn't it? But I know there are a lot of veterans at USA Truck. I'd say stand, but everybody's standing. But I know Marty's a veteran, and I know Blair's a veteran, and I know so many of you are veterans. Can we just give them a round of applause? USA Truck is clearly proud of our own military connection, and most of us have our own military stories. I spent my youth living and playing on military bases. I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have served this great nation and for those who do so today. We all have connections to the great legacy, and some of you have heard these lines from me before, but I stand before you today, a direct descendant of 19 patriots of the American Revolution, the grandson of 2 World War II veterans and a Korean War veteran, the son of a Vietnam veteran, and the proud father of an Army officer and Apache pilot. As great as it is, as great as it is to receive the honor we have today, it is even better for us to recognize the current and prior military service of our coworkers, people like Jordan Ray, who nominated us for these awards, or Michael Anthony, a driver who served in the Marine Corps, or Kim Gregory, who served in the Air Force, or our board member, General Barbara Falkenberry, or the over 20% of our driving force who also served. Thank you for who you are, for becoming the great leaders you are, and for bringing the principles of discipline and integrity from your military lives to your corporate lives. We are proud of each and every one of you. I also offer as a reminder that freedom is not free. Please take the time to read the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and other founding documents. Learn of the freedoms promised to you, and live a life worthy of the great sacrifice evidenced here today by our service members. Remember these words from Ronald Reagan: "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Again, we thank you for your presence here today. We're honored to have received these awards as an employer and to have the opportunity to recognize our friends for their military service. Finally, I'm reminded of a verse from Matthew in the New Testament: "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." We honor each of you for being willing to sacrifice if called upon in your military service. That willingness to sacrifice is the truest form of friendship possible. Thank you.
Greg, Jordan, and Tim, go ahead and sit down. So this concludes the official award ceremony, and we would now like to proceed to the USA Truck signing. Over here, James. The purpose of this statement is to publicly acknowledge an organization's support for the employees who have been called to serve our country as a member of the National Guard or Reserve. By signing this statement, USA Truck joins other employers in pledging the following. We fully recognize, honor, and comply with the Uniformed Services Employment and Redeployment Rights Act, or USERRA. We will provide our managers and supervisors with the tools they need to effectively manage those employees who serve in the Guard and Reserve. Number 3, we appreciate the values, leadership, and unique skills service members bring to the workforce and will encourage opportunities to hire guardsmen, reservists, transitioning service members, and veterans. And 4, we will continually recognize and support our country's service members and their families in peace, in crisis, and in war. So this concludes our statement of support signing ceremony. Again, we'd like to thank, I think this is yours, General. All right, I won't read for you.
Well, as has been said, no. Hey, I sincerely want to thank all of you for what you do every day. Your job is important, just like our job is important. So again, all of us working together, and USA Truck supporting those members of the military that are serving in the Guard and Reserve are vitally important. And so we sincerely thank you. Thank you very much.